plunged into crisis. The warning signs were there 10 years earlier. Everyone saw them.
America is addicted to oil, which is often imported from unstable parts of the world.
With demand for oil soaring in booming China and India, Saudi Arabia has threatened to turn off the taps to the west, sparking an oil shock.
We haven't moved.
The price has.
I think most people don't accept what's going to hit us. Most people don't accept that this is a real possibility, and they don't accept the consequences of it.
The age of oil is coming to an end. We can't take anything for granted anymore.
When you talk to Americans, it nearly feels like the average person on the street thinks it's their God-given right to fill up with petrol.
So now the race is on to the ends of the earth in a desperate search for black gold.
They think this is the next giant oil field.
No, they don't. They think this is the last giant oil field.
These are desperate men.
Oil rigs are full of desperate men.
This well is costing us $36 million.
Which is why I want to hit the target.
But what if the oil isn't out there anymore? What then?
Hey, Karim.
How are you saying?
Sit in front of the computer and doing nothing. What are you doing?
Doing nothing? Seriously? Hi, Hamad. How are you, bro? You okay?
Yes. Sorry. What are you doing?
I'm looking for a solution for oil. It's vanishing.
Oh.
Really? It's vanishing, yeah.
How do you mean it's vanishing?
Well, not now, maybe after 25 years.
Are you sure? 25 years?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
It's possible.
if you are not sure, let's go and ask some people.
It's a good idea. Let's go.
Alright.
Let's go.
Actually, the fuel or fossil fuel is not a renewable source of energy. I read a long time ago that in Saudi, for example, Saudi Arabia, which has the biggest reservation of oil, around 216 billion barrels. It will last for 70 to 100 years. And if you compare it to Bahrain and the demand of oil on the resources, it may last, this is just my opinion, for 30 or 40 years. So we have to think about other sources of energy.
I think it's going to be last for 50 years maximum.
50 20 30 سنة
45 years 20 ل 30 سنة.
See, I told you, it was the range between 20 to 50 years.
20 to 50.
So,
Yeah, so what are the most answers?
Yeah, around 20 to 30 years.
So guys, we got to think about something that instead of fuel, right?
Yeah. We have to find something else.
Okay.
What about sustainable energy?
We should ask again.
Well,
Come on,
let's go find
Let's go and
out.
ask again. Alright.
We have in Bahrain the sunrise is, we are rich in sunrise. Most of the year, it is always sunshine. So we can utilize this energy, either the heat energy of the solar or the light energy. And the other energy that we have is tidal energy. We can also use it from the fluctuation of sea levels. And we have the wind energy.
Wind energy.
Yeah. These, most of the, renewable energy can be used instead of fuel.
Well, we have the sun that is always existed even at night.
Solar energy and also the air. تقدر مثلا بالهواء في الحين شيء جديد بالرمل.
solar system, electricity.
الطاقة الحركية، الطاقة الحرارية. الشمسية تعتبر حرارية.
Okay, so we had some good ideas.
Yeah, I didn't catch
But sand? Serious?
Sand.
Come on. That's okay, it's okay.
I don't
No,
think so.
no, after 25 years, someone can find a solution.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. What's next? You know, they agreed on solar system. Didn't you notice that?
Yes,
Solar
yes, yes.
system. They almost
I
all of them
noticed that
said solar system.
most of people are saying solar panels.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should focus
They
on
know
solar
what was
system.
the solar panel. So they are just saying solar panel.
We should go and search about this.
Again,
Yes, it is, I mean, a device which can transform the light energy to the electrical energy. The light energy is continuous, and we have long hours of sunrise in Bahrain, especially in summer, so we can utilize this one. Maybe the wind energy is not that much continuous. It has no continuity. But in light, no, we have continuity, and heat also. This can be used as a solar system. Even in heating our water heaters during winter, we can use this sort of heat energy from this sun. I mean, all European countries, which is colder than here and less intensity of sunrise, are there, but still you can find them that they are using the solar water heater. So it will work here in the Middle East more efficient. Yeah, this varies between manufacturer to others. It depends on the type of the material used, the silicone. It varies between 30 to 40% efficient. Yeah, at the time being now, it is expensive. It's still expensive. I mean, from the few years ago, the price comes down, the price of the panels, but relatively it's still expensive. I mean, something like this panel, 300, 1 foot by half a foot, this costs around 3 dinar.
The solar panel uses photons to produce electricity. Let's take a closer look to know how the solar panel harnesses electricity from the sun. The top and the bottom layers are protective glass with the conductive layer. Electricity in a form of electrons allows in and out these conductive layers while the electrical production process happens in the middle layer. To understand what goes on in this middle layer, we need to zoom in. Photons from the sun react with the dye molecule of the conductive layer, causing a reaction state which releases electrons, and that electron goes to the conductive layer, and then the electron does its work.
There are many benefits from using the solar panel systems, such as LEDs or lights. Lighting is important for us at night. We can use the lighting in many places, like the flashing signs in the highways, commercial signs for the restaurants, and also in our houses. Another benefit from using the solar panel system is that there will be less pollution. Why? Because we will consume less oil, which will reduce the amount of CO2 and other burned gases in the air. The less amount of CO2 in the air, the bigger chances to help repairing the ozone layer and reducing the global warming in the world. Major investments always bring with it considerable risks. Purchasing solar panels is no exception. Here are some factors that can affect your return on investment, such as maintenance. The job solar panels do is no easy feat, and sometimes their location in your home is not exactly the most ideal. They can be subjected to strong winds, cruel heat, driving hail. While most solar panels are designed to withstand these adverse conditions, on occasion there can be expenses associated with repairs. In experience, as much as DIY is very popular these days, it's not encouraged when dealing with something as big an investment as a complete photovoltaic panel system. If you are not an expert, do not try installing the system yourself. Lifetime. Most photovoltaic solar panels are warranted for 20 to 25 years, but it doesn't mean you can't get them to work beyond that. However, the warranty is a good measuring tool when gauging how long your photovoltaic panel system will last. Newer technology. It's an undeniable fact that when it comes to technology, what's new is usually what is better. 10-year-old photovoltaic solar panel system is still productive, but chances are a brand new one can produce more.
Okay, so now that we know what solar system is, what's the benefits of solar system?
Your question, man.
Okay. Shall we go ask?
Ask.
Again, guys, come on.
Yes.
It's a clean energy and doesn't have a negative impact on the environment. No carbon dioxide that will be impact from this one.
It will become cheaper in the long term, and also there will be less pollution. كيف save void oil, save كهرباء.
Save money.
يخف التلوث أيضا من ناحية الناس السيايير سوالف البترول.
Let's help, guys.
Okay. Oh yeah, they have good ideas, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Locations.
Yeah. Where we are going to apply them? Don't you ever think about it?
The magic word.
We are a small island.
With the magic word, we go and ask.
Come on.
Come on, let's ask about the places. Let's go. Alright, let's go.
We can use our roof areas to erect our panels, and there are also coming in the nice shapes that can be used instead of tiles. You can use them on the top of the roof or on your backyard if you have places, or any other. For example, if you want to develop or invest, if you have a piece of land and you are not using it, you can grow or erect panels to produce the electricity, and you can connect it to the grid lines of the government distribution line, and you can sell to the government. From my experience that I used, for example, this panel, this is half a foot or 15 centi into 30 centi. This will produce 5 watt. So if you divide this area by 5 megawatt, you need for 217 by 217 meter square to produce 5 megawatts.
We can locate them on the roof of the buildings and on the building the houses.
On the top of the mountains, of course, we don't have mountains here in Bahrain, but I mean, for example, Dakhan, or we can put it on our roofs. فوق الأسطح مثلا في البار.
يا وعسكر.
مثلا البار.
نحتاج أماكن يعني تكون وايد وسيعة مثل مباني صغيرة.
To implement solar system in Bahrain, we refer to the Water and Electricity Authority. They provided us with peak loads and generation availability during 2009. The peak load was 2,438 megawatts during August, where the generation availability was exceeded by 497 megawatts. The implementation of solar power was decided with a monthly capacity of 3,600 megawatts with an average of 5 megawatts per hour. Since the area required for generating 5 watts is 465 square centimeters, we have multiplied this area by 1 million to get the area required to produce 5 megawatts. these setups can be implemented for individuals where they can produce their own electricity and get paid for the excess power produced using the technology of net metering.
Okay.
We found.
So,
we can
we
apply
got some
to
locations.
Yeah, really good
Joe,
locations.
Sahib, good places, right?
Houses.
On top of the houses.
Yes.
That was a brilliant.
I like that. I like that.
Okay, so
What about the negative environmental goals? So I mean, like, the solar panel will affect the environmental.
Don't tell me about it. Don't tell me about it.
Okay, yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Alright.
It is actually helping the environmental, but there will be a negative impact on the environment only during the manufacturing of the panels. For example, I mean, while you produce the silicon, for sure you are there will be a byproduct of a waste material. This is the only impact on the environment. But if you compare the impact of producing these panels with the fuel burning, you find that the fuel has more impact on the environment, because that is continuously while you run any generator or cars, you continuously producing fumes. Whereas in panels, you are only producing harmful materials during the production of the panel. But in the lifetime of the panel, which extends from 30 to 40 years, you are not producing any harmful material.
They will take kind of big area to locate them.
I think it may consume lot of area.
والله ما اعتقد انه بيغير شيء لان هاي شيء طبيعي ما بيطلع لك مثلا دخان بيأذي الناس.
وبيصير global warming.
ترتفع درجة الحرارة.
أي المساحة.
بتقلل ممكن عودة اللي بنستعملها.
Well, as far as solar technology is concerned, PV systems, photovoltaic systems, they don't have any solar the environmental impact actually, like corresponds to emission of carbon dioxide. There is no emission of carbon dioxide from solar photovoltaic panels as far as the generation of electricity is concerned. But to some extent you can say that during production there is a little bit of emission of carbon dioxide, but which is very low. Just like you can say that if during production you emit like 21 or 22 grams per kilowatt hour of carbon dioxide, and instead of like the general thermal power plants, which emits around 900 grams of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour. So it's quite a safe and good for environment, very good technology. Yeah, to some like drilling or mining for like it's still we need to make certain production, and for production we use the material from the earth. So for that there will be a little bit of drilling required, but not like excessive drilling as we do with the extraction of coal or with the like gasoline or these kind of things. So it's a little bit of drilling is required, but not to that extent, because there is no emission of carbon dioxide. So no carbon dioxide, no carbon monoxide, so no emissions at all. So it's like relatively safer. You can't stand actually, or you can't hold a solar panel. If you have installed it somewhere, then you have to barricade that area, that no animal, no person will go and touch that stuff. And sometimes like concentration during the daytime, especially in Middle East weathers or in other countries as well. So if there will be a lot of the reflection of the sun came, and the concentration of that can give you burns or something like that. So it's always important that even for photovoltaic systems, you should not allow anyone to enter that area where you have installed these solar panels. That it's a relatively new technology and it's under development. But if you see with the passage of time, it has progressed a lot, because now we are having like 220 watt panels as well available with us. So to that extent, yes, because in parts like in countries where the weather is relatively good, you can say that over there people have more advantage of this technology because they don't need air conditioning. Because with photovoltaic systems, air conditioning is very expensive. So like, and then you can say that it's always like you have limited requirement. If you have limited requirement of energy at your home, then you can use this technology, or you can tie it as the hybrid system, like to some lights you can convert to solar, or fans convert to solar, air conditioning with the normal grid system. During the daytime, because there will be a lot of reflection if you have like installed over there some part, because photovoltaic cells, they absorb the light. Okay, but on the other hand, they have like they are emitting the heat waves, okay, back. So some of the heat is absorbed, some of the heat is coming back. So reflections can lead to danger sometimes, and if it's a large concentration of reflections, then it can lead to burns as well. It requires a lot of area actually. It depends which panels you are using, because there are certain technologies like thin film or the monocrystalline technology. So with monocrystalline you need a little bit lesser area, but still a lot of area is required for that.
Solar system will be applied in Bahrain soon.